Scout's melee options are pretty limited compared to other classes. Most of his melees are considerably bad, to be honest, with none of them actually being meta. Now I try to give you the information so you can unfortunately pick from one of the worst melee selections in the game. First off, we have the stock bat. The bat is a pretty bad option, with it not having any other utilities and only doing 35 damage at point blank, 47 damage on mini crit, and 105 damage on crit, attacking at an interval of 0.5 seconds. These three weapons are reskins of the stock bat, which have unique kill icons and weapon models. To get the Holy Mackerel in the unarmed combat, you can craft, trade, or buy it through Steam or another external website. For the Bat Saber, you can only get it through crates, trading, and buying. Now, a weapon with some utility, the Sandman. The Sandman is a weapon that has the same attack speed and damage as a normal bat, but has something special for its altfire. When you press M2, Scout throws a baseball at the enemy, and if this baseball hits, it slows the enemy for a range of 1 to 7 seconds. This baseball does 15 damage for a point blank hit, 20 damage for a mini crit, and 45 damage for a crit. After hitting a target with a baseball, it takes 10 seconds to gain another. If you don't hit the target with the baseball, it lies on the ground for 10 seconds before disappearing and gaining another one. The baseball is also able to be air blasted by pyros. When you are carrying the Sandman, you have a max health of 110 HP and max overheal of 165. To gain the Sandman, you need to complete 16 Scout achievements. The Candy Cane also shares the same stats as the Bat, but it also has a unique utility. When you kill enemies while the Candy Cane is equipped, they drop small health packs. These small health packs heal 20.5% of the user's health. In the TF2 wiki, it quotes, "Health packs do not drop on any kill that counts as being finished off and from feigned deaths." I don't really know what finished off means, but, do with that what you will. Equipping the Candy Cane, you are 25% more vulnerable to damage from explosives like rockets and grenades. The Boston Basher has the same base damage as stock, but there's another utility. When you strike an enemy, they bleed for 5 seconds, but a miss swing causes the Scout to hit himself and deals 18 damage plus the damage from bleeding. A miss swing is only registered when you hit empty air, so you can hit things like teammates, walls, and floors. The bleed damage causes 40 damage over 5 seconds and 54 damage as a mini crit. The self damage of this weapon is preferred by comp players because it can quickly charge Uber and do an additional mid-air jump. The miss swings cause knockback to the Scout, so if you time it correctly, Scout can perform an additional mid-air jump. The Three Rune Blade is a reskin of the Boston Basher with unique kill icons and weapon model. You can obtain it by crafting it or buying it. The Sun on a Stick is the most situational of all of Scout's melees. It does 25% less damage than stock and guarantees crits when striking a burning player. This means that it only does 26 base damage and 79 damage on crit. The Sun on a Stick also grants the user 25% fire resistance while active. This weapon may look good on paper, but if you want to use it, I advise looking at Fish Stick on a Stick's video on it. The Fenowar only does 9 base damage with 26 damage on crit, but there's another utility. On hit, the Fenowar marks the opponent for death. When marked, the player gets a white skull and crossbones over their head. This indicates that for 15 seconds all subsequent hits taken are mini crits. If you hit a non-marked enemy with the Fenowar with another enemy already marked for death, the mark will transfer to the non-marked enemy. It is really only viable in MVM where you mark the big robots and sentry busters. The Atomizer is a weapon that does 30 base damage, 40 mini crit damage, and 89 crit damage, with a unique utility. With the Atomizer deployed, you are able to perform a triple jump, and, while airborne, attacks with this weapon deal mini crits. But, the Atomizer does have a 50% deploy time penalty, and deals 15% less damage to players. Also, it does the same amount of damage as stock to non-player objects for some reason. Finally, the last melee, and my personal favorite to use. The Rap Assassin does 12 base damage, 17 mini crit damage, and 37 crit damage, also having another utility. When you press M2 with the Rap Assassin deployed, you throw a bauble that deals bleed damage. When colliding with the enemy, the initial splash damage is 4 to 24 damage and causes bleed for 5 seconds on a direct hit. In total, with all the stats put together, on a direct hit, the projectile deals 59 to 79 damage, including bleed damage. The bauble deals minor splash damage when shattering on surfaces and dealing players 4 to 13 damage to those in its small radius. From the wiki, it says, if the projectiles hit someone after 1 second of being in the air, roughly 1408 hammer units, the victim receives a guaranteed critical hit from the bauble. Bleed is not affected, which means you can do cool MLG bauble shots. So, there you go. Information about all of Scout's melees. Some are viable, some are completely situational beasts. Hopefully, you can actually use something from this, or if you're even watching in general, thanks for checking me out and clicking on this video.